In May of 2024, a document numbering well over 100 pages was published, making serious allegations of grooming, pedophilia, and other acts of sexual deviance. It was the culmination of a concerted effort to expose disgusting behaviour that has been supposedly going on for 5 years, and its subject is Weegeepie, or Lucas, a French YouTuber with over 2 million subscribers. It's startling how someone who just started out reposting clips from the SMG4 animated series ended up riding the wave, taking one idea of Luigi playing games from a video 11 years ago and copying the entire style over and over again to make videos with tens of millions of views and, until recently, a loyal and consistent fanbase. But that has all changed following the circulation of this utter depravity, and Weegeepie's attempts to bury this story by responding on an obscure second channel or banning people who call him a pedo in his comments don't make him look better, and that's probably because even he knows how degenerate, sick, and manipulative his own words make him look. Without further ado, I give you the Weegeepie files. Whilst the Weegeepie channel has almost 200 videos, information about Lucas as a person is hard to come by, mostly because during almost all of these videos, Lucas is playing a character. It's only thanks to this document that we have a glimpse into Lucas's personal life, and the brief look that we get is not pretty, as Weegeepie's earliest relationships show him bragging and flaunting stuff that no teenager should really be doing. His first documented relationship began in 2019 when he was 14 dating another 14-year-old girl. In 2021, when they were both 16, Lucas's first documented predatory action was committed, allegedly bragging about getting nudes from a 12-year-old girl. The messages are in French but have been translated. She's so hot. She's not 12 years old, it's impossible. What the f***? It's the first time I send my d to someone else than you. Wait, but finally someone that goes further. This lines up with a 12-year-old girl who spoke out about Weegeepie back in late 2021, showing messages discussing sexual diseases, soliciting nudes, and just straight up sexting. And you gotta remember, 2021 was Weegeepie's peak. This is the time when he was getting his most viewed videos. His responses to this being exposed at the time were shrugging off the situation, threatening legal action against a 12-year-old, and eventually enlisting someone to manipulate this girl into a false confession. Sorry, tell him you faked it. If you don't tell him you faked it, this is gonna go really bad. I beg you to tell him before it's too late. This is very important. You have to tell him before something very bad happens for me. If you don't tell him, I'll never forgive you. Please tell him. Tell him it was fake. Tell him you made it up because you were angry. Please. But I would call myself a liar. I told him everything. I don't know what to do. Then he'll tell me why I'm defending you. Would you rather call yourself a liar without any consequences, or not call yourself a liar and make me in huge trouble? If he asks you why you're defending me, just tell him you are angry, and that you faked it, and that you feel sorry about it because I was nice to you always. Hey Ouija, I already solved your problem, hehe. Thanks. Now don't add her on this account. While some may try and point out that Weegeepie and this individual were both minors at the time, a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old sexting is pretty unacceptable regardless of whatever legal things are put in place. Lucas may not have been an adult yet, but the maturity difference between these two is so significant. In fact, it's even greater considering that at the time, Lucas had already lost his virginity, which leads me back to Lucas's IRL ex and the next situation. According to this screenshot, in 2021, Lucas bragged to another individual about having video recordings of doing sexual acts with his girlfriend when they were both 14. In another screenshot he said, "I don't know why I care, I still call BS. I have proof, not sure you want to see that though." What type of proof would you have that isn't considered child? Nothing. Lucas's ex would also get into contact with the creator of the document and confirm that this happened, even stating that they still had the clothes that they wore during the incident. And again, it's pretty apparent that this isn't normal. The idea of losing your virginity at 14 and recording it is pretty awful, because being introduced to something like that and having an archive for it that you can look back on any time will have an insane psychological effect on someone growing up. And as you'll soon see, it ended up exactly as you would predict. Sometime after Lucas and his ex broke up, Lucas began trying to get in contact with 2 more girls. At this point he had turned 17 years old, whilst both these girls were 14. Lucas's ex tried to get into contact with these girls and warn them of what they were falling victim to, but soon became the victim of a threat from Lucas himself. The messages again are in French but have been translated. "Hello? I don't bother you too much. You're really looking for saying things on me like that. Bad stuff on me. You really want me to beat your ass up, right? You're the one who ruined my life, asshole. If you want me to send you to the hospital, I absolutely have nothing to lose. If I hear one more time that kind of shit, you're really gonna regret it this time. Do absolutely not mess with me. I've been staying long enough without doing shit." In DMs with one of the girls, he would add on and say this: What is she saying? I'm gonna kill her. That's the ex I was talking about. I'm genuinely gonna kill her. Excuse me, are you doubting me now? At this point, I'm just gonna put her to the hospital and end my life afterwards. I can't believe she had the audacity to say that. She's the one that kept doing to me and driving me insane, while I was too kind to literally forgive her every time and not do anything about it. And she dares it was me? I'm this close to going to a house that beat the out of her. And in this final screenshot, he instructs this girl to send his ex a message, saying, "It's your last chance before I you up." In late October of 2022, Weegeepie began dating another girl, this time another 14-year-old whilst he was 17. Again, whilst the age gap on its own could be debated as not being predatory, Weegeepie's history of interactions with minors makes that less believable. In their 2-month relationship, the 14-year-old stated that she was uncomfortable with Lucas's behaviour, and he would send her audio of him moaning. She said, "When we talked on Instagram, it's like his personality completely changed. He wasn't sweet, but became really bold. We used to sext. I was fine about it because I thought we're far away and can't physically do anything to me. But sometimes things got a little uncomfortable, like he told me to masturbate over his pics, told me to moan for him, called me mommy so I moaned for him, and when I refused, he moaned for me. On some occasions, Lucas would beg this girl to take pictures of herself for him, and when she refused, he again threatened to off himself. The girl's limit was reached when he began sending pictures of himself half naked, as well as a picture of his penis and more voice messages of him moaning, and she would cut him off in December 2022. I was drawing and he sent me a message on Instagram and told me he wanted to send me pictures or nudes, and I refused, but after like 30 minutes, I checked Instagram again and he sent me 2 pictures and 1 voice message. The first picture was him sitting on his chair, only thighs part, with only underwear. The second picture was just blurry dark pink, and the voice message was noises of him getting off. I was super scared, and without hesitation, I deleted the whole conversation and blocked him on Instagram. Weegeepie's next relationship would be one of the most depraved actions he's ever done. After breaking up in late 2022, Weegeepie's next relationship was with a girl that he had met via Roblox and soon solicited nudes from. It was initially presumed that she was 15 years old, but a handful of Weegeepie's friends soon found out that she was not 15, but had actually just turned 13, having been 12 years old when they first met. You know, if you keep talking with her, it'll come right back at your face, especially if it's with someone you had a relationship with. She's 13, she's too young. Really, leave her, you're putting yourself into Don't ignore me, I'm serious. I'm not ignoring you, what do you want me to tell you? Duh, nothing, just stop talking with a 13-year-old kid that sent you nudes. Now, any normal person who realized that someone had lied about their age and that they were actually much younger than previously thought would immediately cut them off, especially if they're a 13-year-old who sent you nudes. But Weegeepie, as you may have already figured out, is not a normal person. He made it seem as if he had broken up with this girl and cut her off, but in reality he kept dating her for over a year. You can see this message here where he feigns cutting her off on the 12th of December 2022, and yet just a few hours later you can see flirty messages and images of toys. Now, there is some confusion about the girl's age because the screenshots we have are definitive proof that Weegeepie knew she was 13, but she states that she had just turned 12 when they started dating, but with nothing to back it up considering Weegeepie deleted all his DMs with her. For the sake of safety, we're going to go with the age that Weegeepie absolutely knows because we have proof for it, but I think it's worth mentioning. Weegeepie, for most of his relationship, was 18, dating and sexting a 13-year-old. What the f***? Bye good girl. Don't daddy makes me want to stay even longer. Princess, good girl. According to the girl and the DMs, he also received nudes from this 13-year-old and seemingly kept them despite knowing her age, as well as sending nudes of himself. So he sent Weegeepie nudes and he kept them. My question is, did he say that he got after them? Yes, he literally did it on call with his whimpers. Oh, he has my nudes too, yeah. No, like on the files. With my nudes, I saw a girl that wasn't me. I just offered to let him see me shower and he said yes to see me a lot, but at the start of the relationship, he wanted to see me myself and would beg me to let him see me naked and shower. I was uncomfortable showing him, so I said no a lot. He begged me so much to the point I just showed him. He would only beg until he got tired or I showed him. I didn't know what to say. He mentioned that I lied about my age and said I was 15 to him at the start, but when like nudes back and forth continued, he definitely knew like a week or 2 weeks into nudes or before, and the nudes stopped this month, like 3 or 2 weeks ago. Additionally, Lucas also sent pictures of his face and himself shirtless, which I'm censoring because putting it in will probably get this video a privacy complaint. But of course, it gets even worse. During one conversation in late December 2022, Lucas makes an explicit expression to meet up in real life with this 13-year-old and do sexual acts with her. Do it and keep on going until your arm hurts. I want to do it with you. I can't call baby, I'm sorry I can't. Rip. I can't. What? I love you so much. Me too. I just want you. Come here, babe. I can't. Soon, don't worry. No, explain. I want to live with you. Well, me too. I asked 2 months ago, you said you can't. I can't though. I'm so confused. Well, I don't know. See? Nothing. Just come here, I don't know. I hate it here, I can't, I love you. But you're coming in a month. Maybe. What do you mean, maybe? I'm sorry I love you so much. It's hard for me. At one point, Lucas, the 18-year-old, allegedly sent her a hotel for them to meet up at. Was that him telling you to go there if you were to go to him? Yeah. She also says, he wanted to babysit me. Ew, what the f***? Like, cause I would've gone with my dad. Like, he planned it all out. It's worth noting that the reason there aren't so many DMs for a year-long relationship is because, as we mentioned before, Weegeepie cleared all of his DMs with this girl, but you can still see her array of messages. They clearly had a relationship. And from what has been archived, it looks like it's enough to condemn such disgusting behaviour. Again, I don't want you to forget this. Lucas was 18, the girl was 13, and they were in a relationship for over a year. This is insane. Whilst Weegeepie was dating and sexting a 13-year-old, he also got into a relationship with another girl. Thankfully, this individual was only a year younger than Lucas, being 17 whilst he was 18, but Lucas's actions don't improve. Haha, would you still want to sex if I was your cousin? I mean, I would. I love you too much. There's also these messages, which I'm not gonna read, and also these voice messages, which we thankfully can play, but, brace yourself.
I wanna shower with you. Nah, it's okay, it's okay.
By this point in the timeline, Weegeepie's relationship had been going for a while, but was being impacted by previously discussed victims coming out with their experience in early 2024 via documents. These rumours made the girl contemplate cutting contact with Lucas, and when he got wind of it, his method of response would be threats and manipulation. They will bully me. No, because you're gonna block them. You're still lying right now, I swear to God. Is that an excuse? They won't bully you because you're gonna block them. You're not on my side. I am. Then do it. Can I just make an account? Absolutely not. To talk to you? No. Please? I won't fall for that. Do what I said or I'm breaking up with you and I'll expose you alongside everyone else. I am not taking this lightly. I'm even thinking about taking this to court. This is literal harassment. If you don't want to do it, that obviously means you're on their side. Eventually, she left their relationship, but that only seemed to amplify his unhinged behaviour. He would go as far as to try and blackmail her with threats to take this to the authorities. So, I send this all to the authorities? Very easy to find someone with all that suddenly. All of this is private information that I can give to the authorities to track you down. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. I told you this 2 days ago. Your IP, more than enough for the authorities to track you. My parents, me and the Weegeepie company have no choice but to turn you into the authorities. You have committed a serious crime and shown no sign of cooperation to better handle the situation as we have with and we have a massive amount of your information in private, IP address, email, name and state, which we will provide to the authorities along with the proof of your crime. You have less than 24 hours to respond to what will be your absolute final chance to cooperate before we take it to the authorities with no coming back. Relay this to her. Lol, thanks. I have her address, details, name and everything. Not that the authorities can't find anyone without these, it'll just make their job much easier. We're giving her one chance to converse like we have. I won't be taking this lightly, especially when I'm innocent. Seemingly agree to just drop it. I still don't know if that's bullshit as I'm at the hospital. Can't trust my parents at home. As I said throughout this whole thing of false pedo accusations, you'll have done nothing but give me enough evidence about pure harassment. As more and more people rolled in with their experience of how Weegeepie had used them, Lucas became desperate, as it would be only a matter of time before his running list of online partners read up on what he was doing. One individual, a 15-year-old, dated him in around March 2024, and testified that Lucas got him to constantly defend his name with alt accounts and comments. And if you didn't already expect it, Weegeepie also had a sexual relationship with this individual, getting nudes from them whilst they were again 15. As of today, Lucas is rumoured to be dating another girl, a 16-year-old known online as Saya. Weegeepie is 19 right now. However, it was far more difficult to find this account as Lucas was hiding on an alt account on an anime Discord server. Hushmush, a former friend of Lucas's and the main spearhead behind the documents, noticed that this account used memes and emojis that Lucas would have regularly used, and Lucas's IRL friend Cake Noob was also on the server. It wouldn't take long before another individual confronted this account, during which they admitted that they were Weegeepie. I often look into usernames of people for fun and I promise not to tell, this you? GG, you're the first one in the entire server to align the dots. There's allegations about me. I legit told him they're false. Well, I mean, you were dating Saya and you were 19. That in itself is something, man. From there, users found Lucas and Saya having matching profile pictures from the hit horror incest game, The Coffin of Annie and Lele, and then found Lucas voice acting a meme on an upload of Saya's channel, credited under the pseudonym Lulu.
Ma'am, I think you need to— What the f— Are you 12?
My stupid more life.
Lucas didn't try to hide any of this by this point, flaunting his access to her YouTube analytics and posting comments under her videos responding to people calling him out. On May 13th, Saya responded publicly saying that she had broken up with Lucas. Yet, from a quick look at her following list, it was clear that she was still following him on one of his Twitter alts. Despite her vehement denial that she's not with Weegeepie, he would join her server again on another alt account a few days later. On April 19th, 2024, a channel named Weegeepie Alt, later renamed to simply Lucas, was created. And on the same day, it posted a video titled, Weegeepie's Debunk Response to the Allegations. We're not going to go over this in detail because it's outdated. It was made before most of the allegations mentioned in this video were even published, and it mostly addresses claims that were too flimsy for me to cover. I will say though that the almost silent operation releasing this video is so weird. A 2 million subscriber YouTuber, instead of releasing his response in a place where it can be seen by the most eyes, instead decides to publish it via a small, obscure alt account. Something about this already seems off.
The comments are turned off. That to me is a bad sign, because if you were innocent and certain in your innocence, why would you not leave comments on? Because you debunking everything, you would, I would imagine, probably want to see people saying, oh my god, yeah, this was so bad, I can't believe people said stuff like this. And why would you not have the comments on? Leave the comments on so that you can get all the, you know, support from people.
The two important claims that are addressed from Weegeepie's response is the one with a 17-year-old and the one with a 12-year-old. He starts off with a 17-year-old who he allegedly blackmailed and threatened legal action against.
Next up is someone that I actually dated. So this was over a year ago. I met her in February of 2023, and you know, we were just friends at first, and then out of nowhere one day she just confesses to me. Just to make it extra clear, we were both 17 at the time. I did turn 18 on the way there, but we're both the same age. I like to make it clear that later in the relationship, she started being overly sexual. Like, I did not initiate any sexual conversations. She did. She drew a lot of porn of us, and she sent me a lot of pictures of her. And then the worst part is she committed revenge. Like, that's a crime, and you know, I didn't do that and you did, so good job. I just didn't initiate anything, she did, and now she's acting like the victim.
Okay, I know we just got hit with a quadruple punch combo of clips, but I want to break these down. First of all, no, this relationship was not this girl exclusively initiating everything. Stop trying to make yourself look like the victim here. You both initiated sexual conversations or sent sexual pictures. Secondly, whilst I do think this explanation of saying that the legal threats were because of her sending revenge is plausible, I'm very doubtful because no evidence is shown to support this at all. The fact that the only screenshots we have are your threats, which do not mention any allegation of revenge, simply just vague threats of illegal actions, that leaves this up in the air. I'm not saying there's no way this is possible, I'm saying there's one side that's come out with actual receipts and proof, and the other side has a history of threatening former partners with legal action in a very similar way to silence them. Weegeepie concludes the responding section of this video by addressing the 13-year-old girl, albeit in very brief detail, and brushing it off as a sort of distraction.
And finally, there's like mentions of a 12-year-old girl, but in the document clearly says she lied about her age. And like, read that part, she lied about her age. That should say enough about it. She told me she was 15, so like I don't remember, I was either 16 or 17, I don't really remember because it was a long time ago. But you know, again, very tiny age gap. I don't like to date very young people, for sake. I believe she's 15, she looks 15. It's not like I can touch her or anything. That means when we met, she was like 13, not 12, 13, and it's a 3-year age gap. So instead of being a 1.5-year age gap, it's a 3-year age gap. Big deal.
Okay, well it seems like we have a lot to address here. Just in case you got lost, Weegeepie says that she lied about her age, which is true, but after learning of her age in December, he continued the relationship. Also, I mean, he said she looked 15, which is confirmation that he didn't know what she looked like. His comments about the age gap were just literal lies. Weegeepie's birthday was on April 23rd, 2005, making him 17 by the time this relationship began, and him turning 18 in April 2023. This is just terrible as a response, and it's, as far as I know, the last major response in this video. After this, he just goes at the document creators for a wide variety of things, addressing like racism allegations, and closing out the video by saying he'll be leaving social media soon. This response is just like a blatant attempt to sweep it under the rug. Since then, even though the pressure has been mounting on him, we haven't heard much from Lucas. In fact, he's actually been deleting his videos.
He deleted 50 million's worth of views. Wait, what? Last 20 million views he's deleted. That's a bit odd, isn't it? Why did he need to delete all these all these videos? What has he gotten rid of there? This dude don't move right. This dude ain't moving correctly. There's something wrong here. Something terribly wrong with this guy.
The most we've heard since is just him putting his hands over his ears and ignoring everything, as seen from these rules in his comments. Anything like, touching kids, am I right, is disgusting, and insanely disrespectful to real victims of abuse. I do not like kids. Stop believing lies so easily. Whilst the evidence is stacked hugely against Weegeepie, it's unclear whether anything substantial such as legal or police involvement will ever come of it. As is usually the case with online grooming, people from around the world can be victimized, making it harder for any sort of action from the authorities. Whilst discussing the situation with one of the people involved, they told me that they went to the police with evidence, and they just said it was, quote, cute hearts after looking at one page and dismissed it, later kicking this individual out of the police station. I don't want to blunt the accusations being made or create any sympathy. It's clear this guy is a danger to children, but I think Weegeepie is a perfect case study for how this stuff comes about, and understanding how these people become what they are helps us prevent a repeat of the same situation. The fact that he was involved to that level of sexual stuff at such a young age, the absolute absence of his parents, and the social isolation that comes with a YouTube career were all perfect to make this seemingly talented kid into a monster. The 13-year-old Weegeepie who was clipping SMG4 videos at the start of his career is a far cry from the man we see today, but that does not excuse him. It is still his responsibility for what he allegedly did to multiple girls online, from sexting minors and getting news, to explicit threats, blackmail, control, and lies. The fact that a YouTuber with 2 million subscribers and a mostly child-oriented fanbase is doing all this is haunting, and in my opinion, something needs to be done about it. Until next time, stay safe, and stay toasty.